Excuse me if I sound a bit stuffy. I just had a brick of cocaine. If you didn't see, I just released a song called Render Gun. It's out on all streaming services. This first part is gonna be free on YouTube, and then after this cuts off, you can go watch the rest of it on Patreon. I'm just gonna show you what I've gone and made here. Everything is pretty much the same for the final mix. Besides, I have a ton of Soothe 2 on like everything here, and I only got the license for the trial version. Soothe 2 is fucking expensive, so I'll get it eventually, but I think it added a lot for this purpose. I think it's fine that I don't buy it right now. Oh yes, this is the arpeggio. Usually when I make arpeggios, it's often just a sign with some random modulation with the chords that I've been using, and this whole song pretty much relies on 3 chords. Near the end, there's a bunch of variations and modulations and all that stupid bullshit. A bit of a vocoder for some reason. I don't know why. Actually, let's here's a bit of saw. Kind of sounds Flumish, and like for a while his whole style was just having very not so wide saws. I noticed there's a bit of a delay, and that's because I have Ozone on right now. Here's a simple free Labs patch. I like Brass a lot. I think if I were to start this project a couple months ago, I probably would go with WaveStation instead. Labs is a good substitute. I just wouldn't use it as a forefront in my mix because it does sound kind of mid-eye. Here the drums, they kind of slowly fade in. I really like that acoustic sound. I have a tendency to make my kicks stupid loud. With acoustic kits, you can't do that too much. It kind of sounds unnatural and stabs through the mix very hard. So this is the bass. This is a nice thick texture on it too. There's this trick online about rotating your entire track on a spectrogram 90 degrees. Some guy made this really weird modulation tutorial where it's like a frequency shifter and you gotta do all this bullshit with
I'm going to generate a chart from 1 Hz to my Nyquist frequency, which is 24,000 Hz. I'm going to get a convolver, stick that on here, set the dry to 0 and the wet to 100%. So that's what I have there. So you need to automate this to match the reverse of what your impulse response is doing. So we start at plus 24,000 and we end at 0. It'll have this weird
with it's cool, and he's a genius for inventing it, but that version's very fucking convoluted. I didn't want to do all that shit. I think I did with this sound effect, but there's now a plugin for it. I meant to make a video on it when it came out. It's literally called Spectral Rotator. I'm gonna put the name up on screen because it's a hard name to pronounce and I don't want to fuck it up, but here's my little shout out for that rotator. You take any sound, you put it in the source, then it spits out an identical copy in the bottom. Then you rotate it 90 degrees. So now I'm going to turn this down like fucking 15 because I know it's going to be loud. But on a spectrogram, the horizontal is time and the vertical is just frequency from lowest to highest. Now that's flipped. So all these frequencies are playing at one instance. And this is the original sample. And that might not even be the best example, but you can kind of see what I'm doing here. So I pretty much did that with the drop of this track, like an earlier demo version, and I put chroma on it just so that it sounds in key, but it just makes this nice textural glass, phasey, random word generator bullshit. And you can see, since I used that earlier technique of frequency shifting, it kind of makes for a decent riser fader. And that's what I thought when making this. And it's cool for textural effects and all that, but it's definitely the best for risers and fades. Here's some random vocals. I auto-tuned it and did all this shit to it because alone it just kind of sounds like shit. Let me see if I can find this in the. Yeah, I don't know what fucking context you'd ever use that in, but it sounds cool when you put a bunch of processing on it, I guess.